Good evening, participants. We are delighted to have you here for the TCP Module 2, the second session of this program. So these programs are hosted by Varthana, a non-banking financial company dedicated to supporting schools in their journey towards growth and excellence. In addition to financial support, Varthana offers a range of educational services, and this TCP series is one such initiative. So let's work together to make this an engaging filled with interaction, reflection, and shared learning. So facilitator interaction. So next is I am Preeti. Today, hi, Preeti Ponnappa. Will be taking this session. I have been working with Varthana from past 4 years. Previously, I worked for an NGO. I worked as a teacher, and I worked for an organization in early childhood education. So that's about me. So the next talk, what you are going to talk about is the assignment. So I could see one assignment today shared by Mr. Mohan Sahu sir. Were any of you were able to complete or work on it? Anyone have worked on the assignment? Did you observe your classrooms? So did you observe your classroom for 1 week or note any instances of like student bias, microaggression or exclusion? Or did you make a note or what happened actually, who was involved, whether it seemed intentionally or unintentionally? So for each situation, did you write anything or did you observe anything? So did anyone had a time to read the message written by Mohan Sahu sir in the group? Okay, I'll just give a gist of it. So one situation is where the silent girl was left apart in a group discussion. So what can be done? He mentioned that he would see to that she is involved more of speaking up or more talking in the classroom, giving her opportunity to talk, speak up. So that's one strategy that is going to do it, so that the silent student will not be the silent, she even starts speaking up. The next aspect is where they laughed at a student who was pronouncing a word wrongly. So the whole class was involved because it was unintentionally, but it was more of the aspect of where they just, when someone says like this, they automatically students laugh. We do that also. So but how the student will take, how the student will next time when he speaks up, he or she speaks up, how the child would feel. So that's the reason the child would be given a more opportunity to speak up or practice it, or everyone, it will be a more of a rotation. And there was another aspect where it was about the lab, where in the 8th grade the student was not given, a girl student was not given to work on an experiment. The boy said that you make a note and we will do the experiment. So again, what do you think that situation is? So that is something which is come under the bias section. So what will happen is that nowadays, even everyone has the right to work on an experiment. Even a guy can write about, even a boy can write about what is happening in the experiment. It's not only the girl who has to write. So he said that he will implement the smart, or more give an awareness about the smart, the STEM aspect. So these were the observations which were done within a week. So even in your school, you would see many instances where this happens. Even in a classroom, you would see some instances where students are kept apart because he is slow learner or doesn't speak, or it might be various other reasons in your surroundings. So how you can stop this or build an awareness among the students matters a lot. So why we talked about the bias, microaggression or exclusion, because that's when you're talking more about you are not including everyone. So now we'll talk about the recap of what happened in the last session, creating an inclusive classroom culture. So the topic was, last time we spoke about the bias, microaggression and exclusion effect and how safe and valued students feel. Then the inclusion grows through awareness, empathy, and consistent daily practices, which is always required in the classroom. Then teachers and students both play a role in shaping respectful interactions, which is most important, because these days after the COVID, we see that many teachers or school leaders complain that this is gone, the empathy is gone down, or they do not respect the teachers. It's more of a casual talk that they have, and address behavior calmly and constructively, not the person. And the last is an inclusive classroom is where every student feels seen, heard, and capable, because that is most important aspect. Even for us also, we need to be feel the sense that we are seen, heard, and capable, because that's when we work more, right? So considering all these pointers of what happened in the last session, so when students sense bias or experience subtle forms of exclusion, their willingness to participate or take risk or express their ideas naturally diminishes or reduces. In other words, their agency shrinks. So when you say agency, then that brings directly to our next topic, that is fostering student agency and autonomy through personalized learning. So, what do you understand by? Well, first, let us understand the agenda. So, the objective of the session today will be the objective of the session, then student agency and autonomy, then personalized learning foundations, and the next agenda is learner profiles and choice-based learning, then classroom structure for independence, and monitor and reflect on student growth, and finally the feedback and closing. So now let us understand the objective of the session. The session objective mainly we'll be talking about the define student agency and autonomy, and develop learner profiles and choice-based lesson plans, which will be utilized in your classroom. Then implement classroom structure that promotes student agency and autonomy, the various ways that can be done, and monitor and reflect on student growth in self-directed learning so that they can learn better and they perform better. So now let us understand a more of an icebreaker activity. How it is connected. So think of a time when you learned something new on your own. Something new on your own. Maybe a skill, a recipe, a tech tool, or a hobby, or even your teaching. So what made you want to learn it? Type one word in the chat. Think of a time when you learned something new on your own. What did you learn on your own? It can be anything. You learned flute, sir. Good, sir. You wanted to learn flute, but what made you want to learn that? Learn to play flute. What was the reason for it? Or reason behind it? Hobby or interest? Yes. Activate brain faculties. Okay. Because you're concentrating. Yes. Creativity, passion. Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Learning new technology. Okay. And why new technology, ma'am? Why that interest came into? Sunita, ma'am, learning new technology. Why that interest came to you? To bring new method in teaching. Okay. Good, ma'am. Because as the generation changes, the diverse skills are improving and you need to implement it. True. Yes, you talked about few of the aspects. I'll talk if the one is the interest, correct? Someone talked about the passion or the freedom or a choice or motivation or purpose or achievement or independence. So these are the factors that make you want to learn new things. It might be the technology, it might be the flute, or it might be a hobby or an interest, or the various aspects that you want to learn. You say that all these words are emotions that came from you when you felt ownership of your learning. So because that's when you say passion, that is something what you want to learn. The emotions come from you to cope up with new generation. Yes, ma'am. So you want to learn, or you want to cope up with the new generation. That's why, because that's interest. You want to reach that level. You want to achieve it. So students learn better too with ownership of their learning. That is student agency and autonomy. So now here I'll give you a case study how it works. So here is a situation. So Meena teaches class 9 social studies. Her students are bright and well behaved. Okay, sir. Want to learn IT skills because technology has changed. Yes, sir. Everything is changing day by day. So, Meena teaches class 6 social studies. Her students are bright and well behaved. They listen carefully, write neat notes, and score well on tests. Yet, Meena often feels something is missing. Whenever she asks open ended questions like, how do you think life in the mountains is different from life in the plains? The class goes silent. So when she asks questions, the class goes silent. But when she gives direct questions from the textbook, even hand shoots up. And during project, students copy content from the internet, but rarely add their own ideas or knowledge. One day, Meena overhears a student say, "Ma'am, just tell us what to write. We will do it." This is a situation in a classroom. So here is a question. What's really missing in Meena's classroom? What do you think is missing in Meena's classroom? Practical experience? Yes.
On-field inquiry or neighbors or elder, it's missing.
Sorry, sir?
Enquiring the elders or the neighbors or interviewing them, it's missing. So
Yeah,
they may not get the exposure for that.
they may not guess. Yes, sir. They're not inquiring or discussing with them. And true, sir, acceptable.
Mm.
Then their practical experience is not there. Sharing self insights is not there. True, ma'am. Yes, you're all right. Everyone is right, whatever you mentioned. So this all comes into existence of the mainly the agency part where they do not get student voice or choice is not heard, or the curiosity or questioning skills is not there, or ownership of learning is not there. So these all aspects come into existence because the children or the students are just asking or answering to whatever they're available there in the textbook. If they want to pick something from their environment, or they're not, as my sir mentioned, if they're not inquiring around them from their surroundings, from their environment, from their community. So the skill is going down. So the student voice is going down. So a lot more of students follow, learners follow instructions, but don't make decisions itself. And their focus is on correct answers, not deeper understanding of what that lesson is all about. And students depend on teacher for direction. They don't want them to take the ownership. So the key lies in fostering student agency and autonomy, where learners set goals, make choices, and reflect on their learning journey. So the next slide is on the student agency and autonomy. When we say student agency and autonomy, so what is student, as per your understanding, what is agency and autonomy? Wow, is it different? What is the difference between agency and autonomy? In a simple term, you need not use the complex terms. Yes.
Autonomy in the sense of self-learning or
Yes, sir. Correct. Ownership. Okay. Self-learning. Yes. Ownership of their learning. So this is yes. Student agency means autonomous learners. Yes, madam. Correct. Yes, Ajay, sir. Yes, you are all correct. So, student agency is empowered participation in learning. When you say empowered participation, they have the authority to participate and work on it, and they have the ownership to work on it, and they decide. So, the main factors are the voice, choice, and ownership, because they raise their voice, they have the choice and their ownership. Whereas, with regard to Student autonomy, it is self-directed learning. As Mohan Saha mentioned, yes, it is self-directed learning. It is mainly setting your own goals, where you want to reach, or plan and organize your time or resources, and even evaluate your progress by assessing yourself, by making a note in a journal or a exit tickets, and even seek help when needed, especially it can be with the peer or with the teacher. So agency is more of like I have a voice, I make a choice, and actively participate in shaping their learning. It is more about ownership. Whereas autonomy, take independent actions, manage their learning, and make responsible decisions. It's all about self-direction. So student agency and autonomy are related, but they are not connected. So agency leads to autonomy. So based on the previous case study, can you identify which statements or situations show a lack of student agency and which show a lack of autonomy? Can you identify which sentence shows agency, lack of agency, and which sentence shows lack of autonomy?
The question, the life in the mountains is different from the life on the plains is missing as there is no autonomy.
Okay. Yeah. The students are not asking about that. Correct.
Agency, ma'am, just to tell us what to write, we will do it.
Correct, sir. That is also agency, lack of agency, because the students depend on teachers' direction, not taking initiative. True, sir. And anyone would like to add the autonomy part? Autonomy is mainly where they copy notes. Like I think you can see so here, where students copy content from the internet. They never rarely add their own ideas. So that is autonomy because they are just following the internet, they're grasping, they're not placing their knowledge. So not self-directed, not independent thinking. Nothing is there. So this is autonomy. Thank you, teachers. Let's go forward. Now you understood the student agency and autonomy. Now let us understand the importance of student agency and autonomy. Why is it important? One, builds ownership of learning. First thing, then encourages decision making and critical thinking, which is most required in today's skills, and increases motivation and engagement because when they are self-active, then they have given the choice, automatically their motivation and engagement increases. Then strengthens their self-management and goal setting, which is most required because they are identifying where they're lacking behind, they're setting their own goals, so the self-management happens. So they are planning their life accordingly and improves problem solving and resilience. So problem solving, when I'm saying problem solving, they because when you're given the option, they are able to solve the problems when even in the real life also. So because that opportunity is provided to them, they are encouraged to explore things. So then finally is prepare students for real world independence. So which is the most required aspect. So when we say talk about all these factors, which is why it is important, these benefits lead directly aligned to what? The NEP 2020's vision of learner-centered education. So where students take an active role in shaping their learning pathway, build essential skills and grow as independent, confident learners, which is the most required in the 21st century. So after knowing about this more, why is it important? Let us go to a poll question. Here is a poll question. So do you currently give students any choice in lessons? If yes, what kind of choices do your students usually get? Okay, here are our options. Choice in activities, choice in grouping or partners, choice in pace or sequence. I don't offer choices yet. So do you currently give students any choice in lesson? B, grouping our partners. Thank you, sir. Okay, Mohan Chandrasara, sir. Thank you. You did give that right option. Yes. No, we're wrong. Because I know that many of your teachers are taking care of nearly 40 students in a classroom. Choice in activities. Maripan sir, thank you, sir. So these choices, what you give, or isn't giving the freedom without guidance. It's morely a guided ownership. It is a starting point. Usually, if you're not giving, also, it's not a problem. It's nothing like we have to give or anything. But when you give the opportunity in some situations, you're giving them the autonomous choice. So, autonomy is the outcome when agency is consistently supported through structures like personalized learning and reflective practices. So, choice is one of the strongest indicators of personalized learning, because when you give the choice, that's where the personalized learning happens. So the next topic on the slide is on personalized learning foundations. So what is it all about? Now let us understand the personalized more on the designing classrooms or connected framework, how these are interconnected. When you talk about student agency and autonomy, you're talking about student agency and autonomy. So how is strengthened by personalized learning. So student agency and autonomy is strengthened by personalized learning, and which is implemented through learner profiles and choice-based learning. So it is implemented through learner profiles and choice-based learning, and which inform how to do it, in what way to do it. So it's through classroom structures and teaching practices, and which support is monitoring and reflecting for growth as a teacher, which we do it. So we have now spoken about the student agency and autonomy. Now we are going to talk about personalized learning, and it is how it is strengthens the student agency and autonomy. So personalized learning. So personalized learning is teaching that fits the learner, and it's a base for student agency and autonomy. It's mainly the foundation for student agency and autonomy. The features of personalized learning. One is the content, what students learn. So what students learn, lessons and materials are tailored to students' interest, prior knowledge or skill levels, depending on their interest, prior knowledge or skill levels. Next is process, how they learn it. The personalized talks about how they learn it. Its students engage with content in different ways. Through it might be through discussions or projects or videos or hands-on activities also, because each student is different. Some students are more involved into more of activity based, some students are more of watching videos and they grasp a lot of information, some are more into group work or like a projects, so based on the learning styles or preferences. Next is the pace or speed of learning. Students move through lessons at a pace suited to their understanding. Some might be a slow learner or some might be a fast learner. So allowing extra time for those who need enrichment, for those who want to advance quickly. It's like personalized learning is a time for according to their space. Pace meaning a speed. So what happens if the slow learner is taking us more time, where the quick learner is more jumping to a different. But what will happen is that end of the day, the knowledge is grasped, the idea of what the concept you're teaching is precise, the foundation is firm. Next is the product, how they demonstrate learning, how they explain about or how they comprehend their learning. Students show what they have learned in varied forms. It can be through essays, some can be used through the journals, some can be, it can be a projects or presentations or models or videos or performances. So depending on their strengths, because each one is different, because there are might be as silent who are very soft spoken, or silent who doesn't speak much. So automatically, for even for that, those people prefer more of enacting or performance. They prefer more into presentations or essays. So each one is given a choice. So together, together these four elements make learning personalized, more flexible, and student-centered, which directly supports student agency and autonomy. So these four elements make learning more personalized, flexible, and student-centered. So personalized learning builds student agency and autonomy because students get ownership over learning paths. So next topic is on practices that support student agency and autonomy. What practices can be done in your classroom? One is the student voice. When you say student voice, mainly the express idea and opinions. It's not for political or fighting for anything, but it is mainly to express their ideas and opinions. What can be done? Is it through exit tickets or polls? Exit tickets, how many know about exit tickets? We always talk about exit tickets. Anyone have an idea about exit tickets? No? Okay. It is mainly a slip or a note which will be given after your lesson so that what the child has understood, where the child is having a problem to understand anything, the challenges faced. So the exit tickets can be given even for the teacher to understand where they are. Do we need to work on it? Do we need to use alternative methods in order to teach that particular concept or a topic? So these exit tickets help. A kind of feedback. Thank you, ma'am. Correct, ma'am. Yes. So a kind of feedback. So always these slips or tickets helps you to, and even the child to reflect on themselves as to what they have learned, the challenges that they're facing. Actually, that helps in managing the actually identifying and working on it. What can be done? The next is the choice. When you say choice, pick a task or method. You're given an option. You're doing a project. Every time, usually in the year end, we usually have a give a project. You give them the option. Would they prefer a essay or would they prefer a journal? Would they prefer want to write a project or they want to prepare a presentation? You are giving them the choice. So pick a task or method. So it can be choose between posters or videos. So here it is more on the posters or videos. Next is goal setting. When we say goal setting, plan learning steps, where they want to reach, at what time they want to reach, and to what level they want to reach. So it's a weekly target. Here what will happen, the student is given the autonomy or agency to plan their goal. So they can, we'll give you how it can be done. So what will happen is that they have a set goal in them. So they'll keep on assessing, have they reached it or not? So it can be a weekly target. Then reflection, review progress, how they are working on it, have they worked on it? So it's more of self-reflection. So it can be through journals or Google Forms. So when you say journals, you're writing down what went well, similar to the exit slips, but it is a personal journal where they note down what went well, where I'm going wrong, what is the challenge, what can I do, how I can work on it. So this can be taken into consideration and the children can self work on it. It's more of a self-directed. Then collaboration, when it is mainly with the learning with the peers. It's how peer feedback rounds. Probably you can ask the peers to sit together or they can express it probably on monthly basis. They can sit together or they can give a anonymous slip where they talk about the positive, their strengths and their weakness. So the other person is identified instead of we self-reflecting. Here the peers or the friends are identifying the student's strength and a weakness. So automatically you're working on it. If you have some problem or challenges, you work on it. So these are the practices that support student agency and autonomy. So these are something which he may not be able to implement in a day, everyday classroom, but on a weekly basis, you can try doing it so that this autonomous decision, or you're giving them the voice and choice to work on it, because the more we ask questions, the more the child learns. So it is easy to say, but I know as a teacher it's challenging, but give them the opportunity, probably a one period in a week where they are given the voice and choice, so that they have a lot of curious questions which they are very anxious to ask about. And when we give them the opportunity, they'll be excited with the whole class and the lesson also. Probably you can ask them to prepare and come to the class on the next day so that they're prepared with the questions, not on the topic itself. So that will connect much better. Next is the case study. So here is a case study. At Greenfield Public School, Mrs. Ritu teaches class 7th English. She gives all students the same essay topic, my favorite festival. Some finish quickly, others struggle. Harav, who loves drawing, sketches inside instead of writing. Meena, who enjoys speaking, wishes she could record her ideas. Miss Ritu wonders, am I teaching in a way that fits my learners? So here is the lot of thoughts are happening over here in the students. So question 1. What can Miss Ritu try differently in her classroom to cater to all learners and express their idea? What can Miss Ritu try differently here? No one?
Expressing of answers may be different, but the concept is the basic concept is the same. Either
Correct.
it is drawing or writing or speaking.
Yes, the
So it's
concept
their
is,
choice of answering.
yes, sir. Correct, sir. The choice of, it's they are given the opportunity to choose themselves. So wants to solve a math problem using a method different from the textbook. How would you respond? Yes. So I'll come to that, sir. First, I'll finish this. I'll come to that question. Yes. So as Ajay sir mentioned, it's more of choice. You're giving them the choice as to they can use a presentation, they can or perform, or they can even sketch or make a animation. How they want to express about of how they want to express about the topic. Yes. Next, what changes in the learning experience can be seen if students are allowed to choose how to learn or express their ideas? If the children are given, the students are given the choice of learning experience. So, what do you see? What different do you see in them? If students are allowed to choose how to learn, what do you see? Assume it's ourselves. If we were given the option when we were students, if we were given the option to choose how we want to learn, how would you feel?
Very comfortable because uh, they are very expressive in their way of style and other things.
Yes. Yes, sir. You'll be very comfortable. True, sir. Anyone wants to add on a pointer? You can self-reflect. If we were in the school and if we wanted, we were allowed to choose how to learn. Happy learning and even learning by doing. Yes, ma'am. Correct.
Happy learning.
Yes, sir. Correct, sir. Thank you, Surya, sir. Because you
Welcome.
enjoy it. Sorry,
Yeah,
sir.
really, I enjoy this educational lectures.
Thank you, sir. Yes. So you will be happy learning, you'll be excited, you'll be curious what is next, and you'll try various ways to learn things. The third last question is, if this were your classroom, what practices could you offer to ensure every student practices the as practices per student participates meaningfully? I think Ajay sir already gave mentioned that it is more of choice. Anyone else?
Group discussion will be best for the students for individual learning.
Correct, sir. Individual learning. True, sir. So it's more of independent learning that happens. Thank you, Suresh, sir. Yes, ma'am. Okay, a student wants to solve a math problem using a method different from the textbook. How would you respond? So, how would you respond? Anyone would like to add? If in that situation, you are a teacher, a student wants to solve a math problem using a method different from the textbook.
That's a very creative way. If he's correctly, he or she is correctly doing that solution for the problem, we must encourage that student because he is finding a new way of solution for that. And without teaching, it's the best way.
Correct, sir. True, sir. Acceptable. Anyone
We
else would
can
like
use
to?
we can take the example from the surrounding, then we can easily explain the child to solve his problems.
Yes, sir. That from the surroundings, child tries to do it. Yes, yes, sir.
Instead of copying just from the examples which are given in the book, we should not directly take that example. Instead, we should take the example from the surroundings and then try to explain and reach the answer easily.
Correct, sir. True. They have to learn by themselves because that's where your curiosity. Yes, we should appreciate his or her solutions and encourage them. True, sir. And when you give this opportunity, where you shouldn't suppress them, the more you suppress, the automatically their creativity, their curiosity, their interest level, the happiness if they what they get when you give them the opportunity, everything diminishes. So when we give them the opportunity, they when they try it out, that's when they improve, they succeed. So we have to appreciate it. Everyone is true. Thank you, teachers. For
Thank you, ma'am.
yes, sir. So now let's go to the next topic. Next slide on it's mainly on the learner profiles and choice-based learning. When we say learner profiles, I am going to talk about the learner profiles, what it all about. It helps teachers understand each student's strengths, interest, and learning styles. So teaching fits who they are and not just what they need to know. So there it will mainly check their strengths, interest, and learning styles. Usually profile has everything. So
We should divide
what
the learners into four categories. That is like kinesthetic, auditory, oscillatory, and uh, learning by
auditory,
doing.
yes,
So we should acquire and divide the students into that all the four categories. Which type of learners they are.
correct, sir. True, sir. You're right, sir. You've added most of the pointers over there. Yes, sir. We'll give a much more. We'll explain in the next slide what can be given, how you can utilize in the classroom also. True, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. So features, here's the features of learner profiles. Identify student strengths mainly. Next, highlight areas of growth. Next, capture interest and motivators, who motivates them and their interest level. As someone sir mentioned, that one of the child's interest is want to work on the math by himself on a problem. So understanding learning preferences, and next is guided personalized instructions. So these are the various features. This is one of the how it can be implemented. This usually learner profiles and choice-based learning are the more of how you can implement in the classroom. So here is the learner profile rubric. One, here as you can see the criterias. The learning strengths as mentioned in the features also, the area to improve here, the interest and hobbies, preferred learning styles and personal learning goals and teacher support ideas. So this is a profile and what to look for. As a teacher, what we have to look for. Student clearly demonstrates specific strengths in academic or behavior areas. It can be both in the academic or the behavior. Then in the areas to improve, it says that students shows consistent challenges or gaps where they are needing support, where the students require support. Then interest and hobbies, students express interest that influence motivation and engagement, mainly how they are motivated, engagement, what way they want to do it, especially the interest and hobbies. Then preferred learning styles, preferences of particular modes of learning, which way they want to learn. As Suresh mentioned, it might be auditory or kinesthetic or video. So all this comes into existence. Then the learning goes mainly on students set simple, achievable, and personal academic and or behavior goals. And mainly the last is teacher identifies realistic strategies to help the student grow. So here what will happen is how teachers can assess or the way how you can collect evidence from the classroom. So what will happen usually in the classwork? by when they're writing, or the participation, how their participation, or even when you're doing a lesson, how they're interacting, what questions are they placing, or through formative assessment, collective samples of students' work, how they're doing, probably the creativity or images or pictures or drawings, or not repeated patterns of strong performance. It might be one person might be a good orator, so he is outspoken. So there is another kind of a strength. So you need to observe this. Yes, it might be a class teacher or it might be the subject teacher. Each teacher has to observe their students. So, and next is use diagnostic for, especially for improvement. It is mainly diagnostics checks where they have to improve, where they are lagging behind, exit tickets, quizzes, or notes during tasks, or compare against class level expectations. The other part is the interest and hobbies. So how you can assess, conduct informal interviews or interest surveys or reflection journals, or their hobbies, or even she observed during the choice-based activities, how they are active when they are giving the choice of what they want to do, is it through presentation or performance or video. That from there also you can identify what is their interest and hobbies are. Then preferred learning styles, usually how students perform with visual tools or audio or hands-on tasks or group work, etc. Usually using quick preference checklist, mainly with the available task which you do it in your regular classroom. Then the learning goals is to facilitate student goal setting conferences. Inform you how you can do it in the class. Goal setting conferences, review weekly or monthly reflection sheets, and track progress against goals. So, and the last is the how it can be done is plan small instructional adjustments, like more of graphic organization, peer support, or flexible grouping, or scaffolding. Note which strategies work through ongoing reflections. So various ways that you can do it. So as a teacher, why this requires? And I'll give you an example, a sample of how it can be done for one student. So Arav Sharma, a class 7 student, and you have made a lot on 10th of December, not the 10th, okay, 12 mentioned it as 10th of October. I mean 12th of October, sorry. Okay, the learning strengths, the 3 points. Creative thinker, this is, I'm giving the maximum points, okay? Just an assumption. So he's a creative thinker with strong artistic skills, quickly understands concepts, shows high imagination. That is his strength. What the areas to improve? Struggles to express, not that good at expressing ideas, needs support with structuring essays, not that in good in essays also, sometimes loses focus during long writing task, and suddenly goes into dreamland. So there might be chances. Then interest and hobbies, drawing and sketching, creating comic style stories, or enjoys nature and festival celebrations. But with the learning styles, he's more of a visual, not of a auditory, who's more of not a listener, and kinesthetic, and more of a group work. He's not a reading or writing person. And the personal learning goals, expresses ideas more confidently in writing, but not more of in an emotional way. Then learn to organize thoughts using mind maps, connectivity, share creative work with classmates. Is more creative. The teachers support ideas, offer more of visual options for him so that he can gain. If he's lagging in any particular topic, you can give more of visual options like storyboards or collages. Then allow alternative formats such as posters or comic strips, because it's more of a drawing, or because you can see the sketching part, everything, so he's more of a comic person. Then provide writing frames or prompts to support him, especially on the various ways. So this learner profile, how it will help as a person is, as a teacher, if you do it, assume that you have done R.F. Sharma's profile in when he was in grade 4, assuming. Okay, it might be with the help of the class teacher or even the subject teachers. So what will happen is that now we know the basic initial stage, what are his strengths and everything. So in the next stage, when he goes to the 5th grade, you can use this profile and identify what RO requires. What would RO require to match, cope up with the other students. So the profile is already there, because sometimes the teachers who's taking class for fourth grade also can be taking for fifth grade also. So this profile can be taken on a longer term, and this helps in assessing the student and how to support the student. Because with a new teacher comes and the child, they do not know how the child is. So when the profile is already there, they know the background of the child, they can work on it, plan accordingly. So that's the reason, the importance of learner profile, how it can be done. So it's not every year you have to do it, but it's only you're adding it, keep on adding it on year by year or monthly basis to upgrade it if it's improving. So this is about learner profile. Next is a choice-based learning. When we say, choice-based learning, it is an approach where students are given options in how they learn and how they demonstrate their understanding. So how they learn and how they demonstrate their understanding, the comprehending it. So the features of this choice-based learning is offering multiple task options, promote student agency, and accommodates diverse learning styles and boost engagement and motivations. And the final is ensures all options meet the same learning goal. As we mentioned in the festival, when we talked about the festival, many interests were seen in the students. One wanted to more of perform or do a video, and another one wanted to more of do a drawing. So ensures all options meet the same learning goal. You are giving them the choice. So that's the reason choice-based learning comes. So it is a practical mechanism through which agency becomes visible to everyone. So agency becomes visible to everyone. So now here is a choice-based options, how we can do it. We'll be sharing you the sample with you, the PDF format in the group. So lesson title, descriptive learning. And it's subject to class English 6, and the learning object is using descriptive language and sensory details to describe a place. Describe a place. That's the objective. So the options are that the teacher. This options are given by the teachers. One is the task: write a paragraph describing your favorite place. Or tool or resources, what can be they can use is the notebook or Google Docs. Again, next option you're giving: create a photo collage with short captions. That can be the tool or resources, Canva or chart paper. Again, record a short audio describing the place using sensory words like voice app or mobile phone. So these are the options that are given to a student from a teacher, and the child chooses which he wants to do, because when you give that option, they perform well. They show their creativity more. So assessment criteria is more of creativity, vocabulary, clarity, and effort. How much effort they are put into the assignment. So reflection prompt, as you can give which activity helped you express yourself best, or why did you choose this method of doing the task, what all things did you do, what challenges did you face. These kind of prompt options when you give, because they have worked they have given the choice and they have worked hard for it, they express it more with lot of interest. So this enables the child to think creatively, and they more flexible, and their interest towards the lesson also improves. So it encourages them to learn more and more. Now, let us discuss one question. Have you noticed students in a class who learn better when given a little freedom or choice? Have you noticed any time, any situation, have you noticed you in a class who learn better when given a little freedom or choice? Yes or no? You can raise your hand. If you say yes, you can.
Yes, many students will try to give their uh, give their reactions when they are given freedom in giving their opinions.
Yes, it's more of happiness that they have.
As the learners are, sorry, as the learners are of visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, so they enjoy with choice is given to them.
Yes, sir. True, sir. Because they are more happy, they feel encouraged because they are given the options of choosing themselves. Yes. So what might change if you understand each student's learning styles and interest more deeply? We have already mentioned over here. I'll not explain that. We'll move to the next topic on classroom structures for independence. I'll give a gist of how it works. Classroom structures that promote student agency and autonomy. Earlier, we have mentioned about the various ways that goal, choice, voice, and everything. So, learning stations is one of the structure that can be given. What are these learning stations? When we say learning station, what are it? So, it's a different activity corners like reading corner, writing corner, art corner, or computer corner. So students move through them and at their own pace. They'll learn from something from one corner, then move to the next corner, the next corner. So it is a learning station. So according to their interest, they're opting which is better for them. So that's the reason learning stations. Example, students rotate between 3 stations while reading, watching a short video, and answering questions at their own pace, because as they learn something, then they go to the next level. It's their actually grasping every knowledge what they're getting from each according to their interest. Next is goal boards. When we say goal boards, it's a wall or chart where students write or post their weekly learning goals. You can use a sticky note. So they post their weekly learning goals. It can be a monthly also. You can try doing that. What will happen is that each student writes a weekly goal on a sticky note, like finish my project, project draft, or they move to the next aspect where it is done, or still working, pending, try getting information. These then can happen in the goal boards. They are just making themselves. The next classroom structure that promotes student agency is the reflection logs. When I say reflection logs, so it is a small notebook or sheet where students write what they learned and what they found hard. As I mentioned earlier, in your journal, similar to your journal. On Friday, students write one line. This week, I learned best when I was given the opportunity, or when I was able to perform it, or when I was able to speak out in the classroom. So it can be anything. So the next structure that, or the strategy that can be implemented, is the peer review. This is one of the most important because students give feedback on each other's work and use simple checklist or comments so that they work on it, because peer feedback actually helps instead of a teacher feedback. That because that is from the same age group. So they take more seriously when it comes from the peer. So students swap notebooks to give on one positive comment and one suggestion. So that can be done. The next is the last structure. There is the choice boards. When we say choice boards, we already mentioned the various options that we give for a student, what can be taken and everything. So a grid with 6, probably a grid, you can make a table kind of a thing with the 6 or 9 learning activity options like draw, write, present, audio, anything. Students pick which one they want to do. So as we prepare, so similarly, the example also says that students choose a show learning, they're creating a poster, a short story, a model, or a short video. They are given the options. They work on it. So as we build strong classroom structure like routines, clear expectations, flexible seating, and opportunities choice, we're essentially, especially creating the condition where student agency and can grow. But structures alone is not enough. Why? Because for all the structure, there needs to be a monitor and a support. Why? Because you are the person who will be actually guiding them to do it. So why monitor and support? It's mainly ownership, because when we say ownership, when students monitor their own learning, they take ownership of progress. They usually take ownership of their progress. Next comes the reflection. Reflection is when you give them when they reflect, or when you're giving them, helps them understand how they learn best. You have to see that are they actually reflecting or not, so they understand how they learn best. And the next is the empowerment. When we give them the empowerment or the choice, automatically it builds agency and autonomy. And finally, the guidance. Here, as a teacher, we guide them and we are not controlling them. We just guide them or facilitate them so that they better understand. Then how monitor, reflect, and can be done in a classroom is the various practices is goal setting and check-ins. Similarly, you start the week with one small learning goal, quick 2-minute check-ins to track progress. That's the one simple thing that can be done in the classroom, because that as a teacher we need to monitor and guide. It's not the simplest task, but try doing it in a monthly once. Then self-assessment rubric. Use rating scales or smileys to reflecting on understanding. I've seen as a teacher when I was working, I used to use that smileys or the star stickers to highlight how they are when they perform well, or if they're in the quiz, if they answer very well, I used to give them the star. The similar way, use the rating scales or smileys to reflect on understanding. And mainly reflection journals as weekly, what helped me learn best and what can I do better next time. And the next is the learning portfolios. Let students keep a folder with their best work and reflections. Review monthly, please, because when you review, when we do keep on reviewing, that's when the interest happens. If you just keep silent, we tell them to do it, and if you do not do anything, automatically the interest level goes down. Similar for us also, if we do something and then they do not review, automatically, because we are not getting what is happening, what do we need to improve or anything, automatic our interest also goes down. And peer sharing or learning circles is here a short sharing round where students discuss what worked and what did not work for them. So which will actually help us to work on our next lesson plan, how to teach the students, what all methods can be used in the classroom to better understand. If one topic is nearly 80% of the students are unable to understand, in what way can I change my methodology or way of teaching, or what other teaching material can I get in the classroom so that they can understand the concept better. So this is the how I monitor and reflect is important. So here is an assignment. As earlier, only one teacher did give a response. I expect more teachers to respond. If you are feeling discomfort in sending in the group, you can share it to our personal WhatsApp number, and we won't share. We will share in the group, but will not mention their name. Yes. So we expect more responses in the WhatsApp group, because that is where shared knowledge happens. So identify one classroom. This is an assignment. Identify one classroom structure you will modify next week. Try doing any one of this.
Should be given by all the teachers in the same class to one student. All the subject teachers should sit together and give assignment instead of individual assessment by the different teacher in the different classroom. All the subject teachers should sit together, and then they should see the performance of that particular child and then give the assignment instead of the teacher should sit alone and then they give, so that
That can
they
also
can discuss about a particular child.
true, sir. Acceptable, sir. You can the whole as a collaborative, we can work together and identify and try to work on one of the classroom structure and implement in the class instead of using only one's classroom. We can do, but as a person, as right now, before you, because if many of the teachers are from the same school, you can try it in your school itself as a collaboratively and plan one thing and to try to implement in your class, and you try what will happen, why did you choose that particular, and what impact did this change have on students. So there are only two simple questions: why did you choose it, and what impact did this change have on students. So you can use the goal boards or peer reflection or the learning stations. All these things you can implement in your class. Try doing that. So this is an assignment. So the next is the summary part. Yes, student agency, a recap of what we have done, student agency. So voice and choice, as students take part in decisions about what, how, and why they learn, what, how, and why they learn. And student autonomy is taking ownership as students manage their goals, pace, and progress with teacher support, with teacher support. And personalized learning is adapts content, process, pace, and product to meet individual learner needs and styles, and the learner profiles and choice-based learning tools to understand the student strengths and offer flexible pathways for engagement and expression to the personalized learning and for a student agency and autonomy. That leads to a student agency and autonomy. And the outcome is mainly what we will see in the students: builds confident, self-directed learners aligned with the NEP 2020's learner-centered approach, where we are giving them the opportunity to voice, choice, and autonomous. Yes. So what's next is on the next week, on 13th of December, we have the topic on the third module, advanced strategies for building positive teacher-student relationship, and at 4 o'clock at same time. And mainly the objective of the session will be the analyze the impact of relational trust on student motivation and achievement, practice strategies such as active listening, affirming students' identity, and responsive communication. Then create routines and rituals that strengthen classroom connections, and reflect on relationship building practices and their influence on student outcomes. So the topic is on advanced strategies for building positive teacher-student relationship that is required. Thank you, teachers, for all the participation.